This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hurricanes!
Downgraded to a tropical disturbance.
Blue Jackets!
They are insane if they think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. They should be called the Straight Jackets.
Devils!
They're in the details, not in the playoffs.
Islanders!
The first S in their name is silent, just like their fans.
Rangers!
Henry Hank Ford should have recalled them when he had the opportunity.
Flyers!
Broad Street Bozos.
Penguins!
What's the point of being a bird if you can't even fly? It's like being a fish who can't swim.
Capitals!
Ovech can't.
Bruins!
Stole their name from UCLA.
Sabres!
They ruined the game of baseball by introducing sabermetrics to professional sports.
Red Wings!
What that poor hungry goose had after Tennessee bludgeoned it with a hockey stick after it innocently knocked on his door with its beak while seeking shelter during inclement weather.
Panthers!
If the organization was creative, they'd be sponsored by Owens Corning and wear all pink uniforms.
Canadians!
Obviously, original six, more like unoriginal six.
Senators!
Too busy shutting down the government to play hockey.
Lightning!
Everyone knows it doesn't strike twice. Okay, it struck twice, but there's no way it can strike three times.
Maple Leafs!
They've been around since 1917, and nobody has the heart to tell them that the plural form of leaf is leaves.
Mammoth!
Overheated because of their woolly sweaters. We're not all that breathable.
Blackhawks!
Whenever their name is mentioned on the morning show, the 24 people in the studio begin to giggle uncontrollably.
Avalanche!
Chevy's bigger, boxier version of an El Camino.
Stars!
Rosen is smitten and feels an overwhelming desire to take out his phone and snap a picture whenever he sees one.
Predators!
Contemplating fleeing the Dateline kitchen while being badgered by Chris Hansen and explaining that they only drove 400 miles to talk to her.
Blues!
What PA will inevitably have a case of in January.
Jets!
The only win they'll see is in the first three letters of the city they play in.
Ducks!
Rosen hates their logo because it has a bill on it.
Genius. Flames!
Extinguished.
Oilers!
Connor McDavid is overrated.
Kings!
Dethroned.
Sharks!
Haven't recovered psychologically since Arthur Fonzarelli humiliated them by jumping over them while wearing water skis and a leather jacket.
Kraken!
What the foundation of their building will be doing when the fans collectively collapse when the Wild sweep them in the playoffs.
Canucks!
Apparently, naming a Canadian hockey team is really easy. You just say the name of the city and follow it up with a slang term for its citizens. If they relocate to Iowa, they'll be called the Iowa Iowans.
Golden Knights!
They put the loss in Las Vegas.
They're all dead!
Including the Yankees, the
Let's
Bronx
go!
Bombers, dead. Opening night. And so much to get to. National Hockey League opening night. I mentioned the Bronx Bombers, dead. They've been eliminated from postseason play. Quarterback controversy continues to swirl here in Minneapolis. Gophers try to rebound after a loss to Ohio State when they host Purdue. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're about to begin their season. They're still in some preseason, but they'll start in a couple of weeks. With all those topics to get to, I don't know where to begin. Let's spin the wheel of topics.
Minnesota Wild.
What was that?
It said Minnesota Wild. This is what it landed on.
That's weird. I'm not paying as close attention to the Wild as I once did. Tennessee, take it away. I heard we had 3 hours of Wild talk. Fallness basically said it was Ducky and Bunny radio.
Sure, I would assume so if it's Kevin Fallness.
He finished
on the day
by
the Minnesota
saying,
Wild start the season.
He finished the show. By the way, I think it must just be the time slot, 9 to noon, where you take a break, have 8 minutes of commercials, then come back for 1 minute of programming,
Yeah.
8 more minutes of commercial, which just kills you and me.
Yes.
They have, in other words, they have a complete and total disregard for the show that follows them. It's like we get out on time every single break, all 9. That's what we do because that's what we're supposed to do. There's a sign, used to hang in here. Maybe they need to put it back up. break at the 12s, the 27s, and the 52, or if you straddle, 42. And apparently they...
All this time we've been listening to management, but we should just disregard them like the other shows do.
That's what we should do. He said the season is, he said, the Wild season is bright and it all starts tonight. He did a little rhyming thing there. Bright tonight. Aight. Uptight. Out of sight.
Come to fight.
Come to fight.
Right.
Right. It's always, we start every season here locally with the montage, and it's always only the beginning, because it is only the beginning. It's a peppy little tune by a band called Chicago. Tenby, how many bands do you know that are named after like cities or countries or continents?
Berlin.
There's Berlin.
Europe. Asia.
Very good. Chicago. Boston. Think of country.
Is there Alabama? Yeah, I know there's a Sweet Home Alabama.
Alabama. They did Love in the First Degree. That's 6. And my guess is there are more.
Sure.
There are plenty of them. So we always start the season with that. It's peppy, it's upbeat, and it's only the beginning. Now, it doesn't mean anything is going to end. It doesn't mean it's going to end bright. It starts bright. The season is bright. Doesn't mean we'll end brightly, but it starts tonight. The Wild take on the St. Louis Blues. And did you say they are in the Gateway City, the Arch?
It's at St. Louis, yeah.
It's St. Louis. Our former coach is no longer their head coach, right? He's long gone from there. Who is it?
Mike Yeo?
Yeah, he's long gone from there, right?
Yeah, NHL coaches get recycled so often that you could ask me who the other 31 NHL coaches are, and I would probably not be able to answer a whole lot of them, because I don't remember which one's on which team anymore.
Is Mike Yeo still a head coach somewhere?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, he's all done.
I'm sure he's still an assistant somewhere.
Sure. Oh, yeah, sure. God today, gone tomorrow.
He's an assistant coach right now with the Ottawa Senators. Probably doesn't pay what the head coaching job does, but it's a living, and it beats working for a living too. So, Jim Montgomery, who used to coach the Boston Bruins, is now the St. Louis Blues head coach.
You know what they call him in the locker room? Monty. Oh, sure. Why wouldn't they? Let me ask you a question. I will defer to you, and I know we've talked about it. We have Peek at the Purple next. We will certainly talk Wild. I know there was plenty of talk, but basically 3 hours of it, I believe. But I do want to get Tenon B's opinion. He is my favorite and foremost hockey expert here in the Twin Cities, and so we'll get his take on what the Jolly Green Giant thinks. But other side of the break, we'll do Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. But right now, Tenon B has a keyword. We call it our National Cash Contest.
Yeah, the fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our National Cash Contest. Enter the keyword WIN at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is WIN. Enter now at KFAN.com. Baby's crying, that's normal, but if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's okay to step away. Never shake a baby. Shaking can kill, and 1 in 4 don't survive. Survivors often face permanent brain damage. Learn more and give today at nevershakemn.com.
Do you think in Fulmus's head there's a hockey puck rather than a brain? Because not only did he talk 3 hours of wild hockey, I started to panic. I was breaking out into a cold sweat and getting hives. He had the NHL Network on. So it was a replay of a game from last night. And I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to go to...
That's what I got on.
Yeah, because at least ESPN gives me the crawl, so then I can see... It helps me with topic ideas, because usually by this time...
I saw that with you and Rosen yesterday.
Yeah, by this time of the Grum, I've run out of things to talk about. There's really not much going on right now, so I just wait, and I see something that piques my curiosity, and then I go ahead and go with it. I don't want to talk about... I think it's a replay of the Senators and somebody else, or the Canadians or something like that. More on that later. Right now, it's time for a Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. It's National Fire Safety Week, so if you're not sure about how your smoke detectors, your hardwired smoke detectors are holding out, have the folks from Affordable Electric do a complete test of your smoke alarms and get yourself fixed up just right. So right through Sunday, I believe, it's National Fire Fire Prevention Week. If you need to do it, they're easy to get a hold of. Peek at the purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric, affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric.com. Randball today, Fish Wrap Factory, West Side, wrote about J.J. McCarthy. And when he comes back, we'll be able to do the quick passing game. And I think that sort of dovetails on what Kevin O'Connell said earlier this week in his day after the game news conference. If you'll remember, the quote tended to be, it was, quote, he's talking about J.J. He's had some real moments of growth through this time, meaning the time that he has been on the bench, watching Wentz for 3 games. Watching Carson, watching the way Carson's kind of gone through progressions quickly, just the value of putting the ball in play, even when it's not your first progression, end of quote. And that has been part of the problem as you've watched McCarthy. He seems like, other than that fourth quarter against the Bears, the other 7 quarters, almost like a deer in the headlights kind of a thing. Game goes really fast, right? The way O'Connell likes to throw the ball downfield, and you can't blame him. He's got 2 really good wide receivers who can stretch the field in Jet and Addy. So, but it's a double-edged sword because as much as you'd like to throw downfield, when your offensive line isn't providing a heck of a lot of protection, it's hard to do that. So you sort of have to mix and match. And when it's not successful, I think part of that falls on the coach and the play calling, because if your offensive line isn't able to provide that protection, you can't try to force those long developing pass patterns. Now, with Wentz, as O'Connell pointed out there, he's, whatever you think of him as a quarterback, he certainly isn't one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We get that, but having that veteran savvy, he does know I can't stand back there all day. I got to get rid of the football. And if that means, the first progressions, that in inner football talk aren't they? I got to get the ball to somebody. I got to get it out of my hands. Because if I don't, I'm going to get sacked. And we don't want to, we can't afford to you can't, a sack it basically, in most cases, just snuffs out a drive before it even gets a chance to begin. You can't be losing.
Sacks and holding penalties seem to be killers.
Yeah, they just kill you. And so now I would hope that in his year of watching Darnold last year, he would have learned that. He's, O'Connell saying that these last few games that JJ's had an opportunity to really see the value in getting rid of the ball, even when your first progression isn't there. And I thought he did that last year too. I would have thought he would already figure that out. But if there's more teaching moments that need to happen, then it's better that they're happening without him on the field. Learning the game while you're playing is more, it's, for me, Lloyd, you've heard me say that you can watch all you want, but you got to get out there and actually play, right? And he watched for an entire year because he was injured last year, and then we saw, and it doesn't look like and again, he's just starting his career, but he wasn't very good those first 2 games, but hopefully he does see the value. He picks something up from Wentz in that, if I'm back there, I can't hold the ball forever. I have to get rid of the ball, and then you can't force it into place. As you saw last week, no, you didn't, because it was Detroit. Detroit was playing the Bungles, and Browning was just, he was forcing it into places.
He's been awful for 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, and he was last week against Detroit. Just in an effort to get rid of the ball, he'd hang on to it, and then he would throw it, and I think Detroit had 2 or 3 interceptions. You can't do that. And so, because McCarthy's going to be the guy. There's no question about that. Now we've been talking all week, last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. I don't think.
By the way, before you move on, you mentioned the Bengals and Browning.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the craziest stat of the NFL so far this year?
What is it?
Jamar Chase has more tackles than Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I saw. I saw something about. It wasn't that one, but it was something about. It was about it was about the tackles by Jamar, and it was more than he had catches or something like that. There was some other stat like that.
But Jamar Chase has 5 tackles this year.
Think about it.
Actually, that can't be right. It looks like Parsons has 8, so wherever I read that was wrong.
Well, anyway, there have been
solo tackles.
Yeah, there have been a number of different...
he has more solo tackles than Micah Parsons does this year.
Like I say, I've already heard a couple of other comparisons. Jamar Chase has had more tackles than... And then there's been some comparison to somebody, so... So I again, I don't think any of us know for sure. I don't even know if the head coach knows for sure who's going to start against Philadelphia. It sounds to me that by everything they are saying, they want it to be McCarthy. They are going to force feed McCarthy. And I guess, we've debated this, you, me, Rosen, we've had emailers weighing in. It seems to me it's on the emails, I don't know if it's 50-50. It might even be 60-40 in favor of just playing McCarthy. No matter what happens this season, I think people feel like the season's already gone, even though the Vikings are 3-2. And if the playoffs started today, they would be in. But I think people are ready to see what we have with McCarthy. And if that's the case, that's fine, because eventually you do have to play him. Even if you think to yourself right now, if you're going, wow, he was really overwhelmed those first 2 games, once has played okay. And, I read that line from Mark Craig, Fish Wrap Factory Westside, what he said something like, new rule. And he said, if you do what Wentz did in the final drive of the, who did we just beat? Cleveland. If you do that in your last drive and win the game, go 9 of 9, and drive the team 80 yards and win the game, then you should keep your job. And I tend to agree with that. But, how long do you keep him in there? I guess if he keeps winning. But then I understand the other side of the coin. People go, well, we still don't know what we got in J.J. McCarthy. Well, we'll find out sooner or later. But
starting Carson Wentz doesn't prevent J.J. McCarthy from ever playing again. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So we'll just see how it goes, how it plays out. I think what the biggest thing McCarthy needs to do is he's got to get rid of the football. You can't stand back and you can't force it into places, and you got to realize games play pretty fast at this level. And I don't know if the offensive line now, which should get better after the bye week, right? Because we think Jackson will be ready to play.
Sounds like Donovan Jackson will be back.
And I don't know. It's concussion guy's going to be out for a while, right? He's out.
You never know with concussions, right. But I would assume so.
And then O'Neal, you have to remind me, we talked about it yesterday. He is not on the IR.
I don't think he was put on IR.
So I don't know if he's got a chance to come back by the Philly game, but we'll find out. Peek at the Purple brought to you by our pals at Affordable Electric, affordable-electric.com. I forgot. They are shockingly affordable.
The Minnesota Wild face off against the Columbus Blue Jackets this Saturday as they drop the puck on the brand new Grand Casino Arena. Don't miss a second of the action. Score your seats today at wild.com/tickets.
No Mark Rosen today. It's Vikings bye week, so it is for Mark Rosen as well. He will be out. He'll be back on next Tuesday. Peek at the Purple. Spread swing will happen at 1:30 today. Rosen is given his picks either in writing or verbally to Tenneby, so he'll pick for Rosen, and then Deuce will join us as well. So that's coming up at 1:30 this afternoon. Tenneby, are you familiar with Greg Wisniewski? Do you know who that is?
Yes, I think ESPN hockey guy.
Yeah, ESPN hockey guy. I just decided, because as the season begins, we always like to make our predictions. How do you think the local team will do? And all I Googled was NHL predictions, and that's the first one that came up. And here's what Wisniewski writes, and I want you to tell me what you think about this. The Wild will spend $136 million to keep Kirill Kaprizov through 2033-34. bold prediction. At some point during that run, the Wild will have built a Stanley Cup contender around him.
Oh my gosh. Above average.
You can see the broad strokes of it now. Brock Faber and Zeev Boyum anchoring the defense. Jesper Wallstedt as the franchise goalie. Offense up front from Matt Boldy, Danila Yurov, and is Marco Rossi officially not going to be traded? Point being, that this feels like a transition year for the Wild. I'm not a huge fan of their offensive depth beyond Kaprizov, assuming he remains healthy, which he better be, because with him limited to 41 games last season, the Wild were the worst 5-on-5 team offensively in the NHL with expected goals percentage 29th. That was the reason they finished minus 11 in goal differential last season, second worst among all playoff teams. That's his synopsis. He does not have them making the playoffs this year. Does transition season, I know you're the Jolly Green Giant, and we just had Fallness basically saying the future's bright. I think he thinks we're bringing a Lombardi trophy here. What do you think of the Wild this year? You know, again, we all know injuries, this and that, but if they stay relatively healthy, Kaprizov plays the whole year, what's your expectations?
Yeah, I don't know if transition is the word, just because I think they're going to be comparable to where they have been previously, right? I don't know if they're going in a direction. But I made the point the other day that, you know, Bill Guerin and Craig Leopold have basically publicly said, hey, we have a 5-year plan. Mm-hmm. This is year 3 of the 5-year plan. So that would lead you to believe that this is not the year that they are ready to contend for Stanley Cup. And it makes sense because they are littered with young guys in their lineup, right? Yurov is a rookie. Ogren has seen the NHL, but he hasn't played enough, so he's a rookie. Buyum, even though he played 3 games in the playoffs last year, is a rookie. Juracek has a small amount of action. Who the goalie might be when they do get to a cup might be Wallstedt, who's barely played at the NHL level. So when you are going to, and they're playing Hunter Haight in the lineup tonight, who's making his NHL debut. When you have that many players that you're hoping to get contributions from, those guys just don't typically contribute year one. I would love for it to happen. I would love for that to be expedited. But odds are, though, that group of 5 is going to be much better 2-3 years down the road than they are right now. And so if they are not ready to contribute right now, then you're still looking at a team that does have some high-end players and can be competitive, but they're not going to have the depth. Kaprizov alone, I know we can't do the if he's healthy or not. Mm-hmm. But when he wasn't healthy, they were one of the worst offensive teams in hockey last year. When he was healthy, they were great. They could score. As long as guys in the top 6 are healthy, they should be able to put up enough offense. I'm not convinced the depth guys are going to be able to do that, specifically because of the youth there. But Kaprizov's arguably a top 5 player in the league. I think Matt Boldy's going to be a superstar. Hopefully Rossi takes another step. Eriksson Ek is a very quality top 6 center in this league. So they have some pieces in the top 6. You'd like to add another guy or two to really give yourself a shot, or even just to give yourself some depth to give yourself a third line that can score. But then once you start getting injuries to some of those guys, then all of a sudden you go from, hey, a solid offensive team to a bad offensive team very quickly. But it's going to be hard to imagine in 2025 that those young players are going to be like NHL ready right out of the gate.
I'm going to make I'm about to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
I'm going to draw a comparison with the young guys to the Minnesota Twins, in that you have 5 young guys you talked about.
Yep.
And with the Twins, every year, the Polat Pocket Protectors will write that, preseason story about deep and talented lineup. Got a lot of young guys. Our farm system's really good, and they'll rattle off all the names. And we know the names. We've rattled them off ourselves. Miranda, Larnach,
Royce Lewis,
and then
Wallner.
Wallner.
Edward Julian was one of those at one time.
Edward Julian, then the Brooks Lee, and then and the list goes on and on and on. And oftentimes, of those guys we just mentioned, none of them have blossomed into a superstar for sure. But none of them have really played where you go, I can count on this. Looks like a guy, as long as he's happy here and stays healthy, we can count on this guy to be in the lineup for years to come, right? We've not established that. And, the same goes with the Wild. Of those 5 guys, just odds are 1, maybe 2 will turn out, this guy's a mainstay in the lineup. They played. They're a quality player. They might not be amongst the best in the league, but you can't not. There aren't many all-star teams in hockey, right? In any sport where every single position is filled.
Yeah.
So then you have to hope that at least a couple of those guys. And I asked you about them the other day, and like you said, it's really hard to predict which guys will become, mainstays in the National Hockey League and perform at a high level.
Well, not only of those 5 are you, let's say 2 of the 5 are going to be mainstays, right? Of those 2, it's not likely both those guys are mainstays this year.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably like 2 of them will be hits, and that might be 2-3 years from now. Probably not going to happen this year, and they're depending on young guys this year.
Right. And again, by hook or by crook, you hope that they do develop.
That'd be great.
And things happen. And as we know, Tenneby, can really carry a team a long way, not just during the regular season, but the postseason is good goaltending. If your goaltender is really good, it covers it. It's like, I'll make a golf analogy. A red hot putter can cover up for a lot of other mistakes on a golf course, right?
Sure.
I mean, today, speaking of wheel of topic, through 3 holes, I was on pace to shoot 60. I made a 6-foot par putt on 1. I made a 45-foot birdie putt on 2 and a 15-foot birdie putt on 3.
Wow.
I'm 2 under.
Where was that at?
The Loggers Trail. 2 under through every 3 holes, Tenneby is on pace for what?
12 under.
60 on a par 72.
Yeah.
I ended up shooting 79 because the putter did stay hot and I got leaky on a couple of hybrid clubs. But the putter can cover up for a lot. Same where goaltender would be the comparison. If you got a hot goaltender, you played. Hell, when I was a boot hockey goaltender, I can't tell you how many times I bailed our team. My former teammates aren't going to be real thrilled with me saying this. The thing is, though, I bailed them out many, many times.
The thing is here, historically, and that doesn't mean the 2025, 2026 goalie tandem can't do it. Historically, with the Wild, I feel like we've always had solid goaltending. I don't feel like we've had steal games goaltending.
Okay.
Right? Like we've just always been pretty good defensively, and they should be, depends on how the young guys play this year, but assuming Brodin is healthy, which it doesn't look like he's going to play tonight, but he's getting close. Brodin and Spurgeon and, obviously Brock Faber and Middleton. I mean, you got and who knows they're going to get out of Booyam. You got a solid core 4 there with potential with some young guys. You should be a pretty decent defensive team, but I don't know if Gustafsson is hey, I'm going to win games for you. He might not lose games for you.
Let me ask you a question. What if the Wild were to get out to a 2-0 lead tonight?
I think it's best in St. Louis to keep the thing scoreless for as long as possible.
I like that thinking too. I've heard that somewhere before. In the Blues, this Wisniewski guy, he also listed Central Division standings. Lance Stars, Mammoth, Jets, top 4. And then he's got to the Wild after that, and then the Blues. So the Blues.
The Mammoth seem to be kind of that trendy. Yeah, they've been bad for a long time, and they are starting over the last year or two to, when you are bad for a long time, you end up drafting high quite a bit. And, they've had Clayton Keller there now for a while, who's in his prime. Logan Cooley, who went to the University of Minnesota, has been there now for a couple of years. So they kind of be the trendy. By the way, their uniforms are awesome.
Are they really?
Yeah. The Kraken and Mammoth, typically whenever there's been new logos, new team names, new jersey rebrands, I don't like them.
Yeah.
Kraken and Mammoth have just knocked it out of the park.
Are the Mammoths is it like their jersey like fur, like woolly?
Yeah.
Because that's what I would have done.
They do have a woolly Mammoth type logo.
Well, and
they kind of have like Blaine Bengals colors to a certain extent.
If I was a fan of the Mammoth, I would just call them the Woolies. That's what I'd be calling.
I wish that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I bet.
I wish they would have been the Yetis. But
I bet there are people that are just calling it, because it's, the mammoth comes from a woolly mammoth. So
sure.
My guess is some people there already are calling them the woolly.
They'll be dressing up like a woolly mammoth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there will be people that will be calling them the Woolies, just like, with the Vikings, some people call them the Norsemen. You come up with other.
I still don't know what a Wild is.
I don't think they know what a Wild is either.
We don't have an identity.
No,
that's our problem.
We don't. This text message says, sorry, I swallowed my own saliva. I had to cough there. All for naught if we can't fix the power play. Is that still a problem with our club, the power play? It seems like we talk about it every year. The
goes
power
back to
play
health.
and the power kill.
The penalty kill.
The penalty kill.
Penalty kill's been bad for a while. Yeah. That needs to change more than the power play.
Okay.
The power play will go as far as your good players are healthy.
Okay.
Right? I don't have the splits in front of me. I would imagine the power play was much better when Kirill Kaprizov played last year compared to when he didn't play.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But, if you want to look for how can the power play get better, it does look like Zeev Buium is going to be running the top of that power play right out of the gate. Hopefully, just from a zone entry standpoint, he's going to help get the puck into the offensive zone. And, we're still going to be stuck with all lefties because we always have all lefties in Minnesota. But hopefully he doesn't just defer to the veterans all the time and take some shots from back there. But they have some pieces to make the power play work.
Here's what I'll tell you. For me, I think what's really underrated and what could really help, I think the crowd can be a major influence on the power play. And as long as they continue to say shoot, 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 and then the team listens and then they follow that lead, I think we'll score more because you cannot score if you don't shoot. You can use that next time the Tana Fitzgerald set sail. Shoot.
Why are you trying to do that to me?
I don't know, because I just love shoot.
It's going to get me going.
Yeah.
And then the emailers or the texters are going to chime in.
Shoot.
And try to get me going more.
Shoot, shoot, shoot.
I still remember last year in the playoffs, Zeev Buium, fresh out of the University of Denver, playing in like his first ever playoff game, and the puck gets to the point where we're yelling for him to shoot. It's like, come on, guys.
Shoot, shoot.
There's almost a Hobie Baker winner over here.
I'm just telling you, it's going to be if you don't shoot.
Just let him calm down and relax and make a hockey play.
Let me ask you a question, though. Just answer yes or no. If you don't shoot the puck, can you score?
Well, technically you could, but unlikely, yes.
Right. So there you go. So you have to shoot. Get the puck. Quit the little fancy passing back and forth and trying to make, look how we handle the puck and the way we can throw it. We can go, is it tape to tape? Do they say that? How do they say it?
Well, question for you.
Yeah.
I know I'm really on the obscene side of this logic here, but if the whole goal is just to shoot because you can't score if you don't shoot, when you have the puck at your own blue line, should you just shoot?
Well,
no, there's some nuance to it. You want to get to an area where you get to a quality shot.
Well, when you're in the other team zone, you got to shoot. And then you get the deflections and the weird bounces and the puck luck.
What if no one's there for the deflection at that time? Then you got to hold on to it until you can get someone to get for the deflection.
Find some new players.
What if the pass? What if the shooting lane's not open?
You just shoot. The more you shoot, the better you do. This one says, Fallness introduced a guest saying he wanted to talk about the current Wild and also the glory years. Is that a PST, or did I somehow miss the Wild's glory years?
They had a glory year.
Yeah, they had a glory year. Yeah. I don't remember the glory years of the Wild.
I'm assuming it's a 25-year anniversary bit because it's
okay.
It's the Wild's 25-year anniversary, so we're everyone's doing like they're all 25 Wild teams.
One trip to the finals. Did they have a conference finals? Right. Yeah. One trip to the conference. That was back in 2003, though, was it?
One of our least talented teams. Yes.
Was that 2003?
2003. Yeah.
That was the year. And that was who was the coach then? Lemaire.
Jacques Lemaire.
And remind me, Lemaire was kind of really just defensive, conservative. Just what was his brand of hockey?
Yes, I mean Jacques Lemaire won multiple Stanley Cups as the New Jersey Devils head coach, and he basically, I don't want to say invented, but perfected the neutral zone trap, where we're going to clog everything up in the neutral zone and make it challenging for you to get into the offensive zone. So yes, he was a defense first coach, but he also liked players that played with speed. Like he kind of revitalized Wes Walls' career, who didn't know how much more of a chances he had at playing in the National Hockey League. He kind of liked having the fast, speedy guys that could also, attack you and be aggressive, but be able to get back and be If you weren't responsible defensively, you were going to have a hard time finding the lineup.
So he believed, I guess, that defense wins championships.
Yeah.
Just like me.
And they worked for him.
Yeah, it worked for him. And that was with the, where did he win those titles?
New Jersey.
With the Devils. Okay.
Well, that's the thing, too. You could look back at the first 5-6 years of Wild hockey and go, Jacques Lemaire was one of the best coaches in hockey, but he almost was so good that your organization never got off to the start that a expansion organization should, because they are almost too competitive where they weren't getting, you didn't go that 3-4 years of getting top 5 picks and building up, chances of getting stars, because they were always good enough to at least be a middling team under Jacques Lemaire. So they never bottomed out. I shouldn't say never, but they also didn't hit on the draft picks they had. But,
so he's the reason we only had a glory year rather than glory year.
Yeah.
So
he was too good of a coach that the Wild were a mediocre team, and they weren't bottoming them out and getting top 5 picks where you have shots at, the Sidney Crosbys of the world, and the Patrick Kanes and the Jonathan Toes and the Connor McDavids. Those types of players we weren't ever getting a shot at because we were too high in the draft, or too low in the draft, whatever you want to call it.
So is he out of the league?
Yes.
He's retired,
he's out.
Because he just age, right? Just aged out. He's an old guy and decided I've had enough.
Just right in
yeah.
He's been around a long time.
Right.
He's a hockey genius.
Can we lure him out of retirement?
I mean, I like Hines, but
I don't dislike Hines. I shouldn't say that.
I don't know what age Jacques Lemaire is at this point, but
he was a hell of a player too.
I don't know if him and Kaprizov would get along.
He was a hell of a player.
Oh yeah,
played for the Hall of Famer. Yeah, played for the Canadiens.
Yeah, he's 80 years old now.
Yeah. I guess when you get to that, I mean, it's like it means you could still.
He's got the good life now.
Yeah, you could still coach. I mean, there's not really an age limit on coaching, but yeah, once you just.
Well, the game has changed a lot since he coached, so I don't know if you'd be able to adjust to that or not.
So you're, I guess then, your final prediction. Do you think? Are we a fringe playoff team?
Yeah, they're
okay.
Last one in, last one out kind of thing.
Okay.
Like the March Madness when they project the brackets, and then they'll have like the last 4 in, last 4 out projections. I think they're going to be in that range.
Yeah.
I'd love to be surprised. I was surprised last year when, mid-December we were talking about them being the second best record in hockey. That happens.
Yes.
I don't like the fact that we already have some injuries to start off the season's not encouraging. With Zuccarello, and looks like Sturm might miss up to 2 months now.
2 months?
Yeah. 6 to 8 weeks, I saw.
Is he lower or upper?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. And that's still one of the oddest things. And I guess I think you've told me the logic is if a guy's, you don't want to let anybody know the exact body part that's hurt because the other team will try to cheap shot him.
Yeah, they'll target him.
Yeah, target him. But they never tell you. It's just either lower or upper body. So there you go. So then we never have an idea when these guys are coming back. Yeah. We do know this, that Rosen thinks the Wool, he can't predict the Wild because of the possibility of injury. So it's just too hard to predict how they'll do. But he's firmly convinced that the Wolves will finish second in the Western Conference Finals, even though you can't predict injuries in the NBA either. But he's got them as the best is he thinks they were second in the West last year just based off of getting the conference final, but the regular season they were not. Yeah, and that's they barely got into sixth last year. Yeah, they almost played in a play-in game. I mean, it went down to the wire. Yeah, for me, what I want to see from the Wolves, I just want to see them as be professional. Well, yeah, be consistent. Who's that former Vikings player? Is that Chris Hovan? No. No, it's one that says Monday night, Tuesday night. Oh, that's Jermaine Wiggins. Yeah. And then we have one more. Chris Hovan's we need to be consistent as well. So it's definitely a hand-in-hand thing. Yeah. Well, that's not Hovan. Hovan's the one that goes, this bandwagon. It really is. Guys are laying on the line. I think it is the other guy you mentioned. Yeah, that's who it is. You just got to be consistent. I'm sick of it, man. I really am. I'm fed up with all the crap that I hear. I think it's bandwagon. I really do, man.
These guys lay it on the line. These guys are in the training room, man. Guys lay it on the line, man. They lay it on the line. Sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Why did I think it was that one?
I don't know. Well, and
it's Chris Claiborne.
Chris Claiborne. That's
yeah.
the name
I'm sorry,
I'm looking for.
had the wrong
Chris Claiborne.
soundbite.
Well, and getting back to that, we used to the Hovan thing. It just sounded funny. I just loved it. He is actually the one thing I will agree with Hovan. I think in the National Football League, most of the time, guys are laying it on the line. And sometimes you're not as good as the other team. Sorry. You can't always be the best team every Sunday. Sometimes you can't even be the best team every other Sunday. Sometimes you can't even be the best team every third or fourth Sunday. Sometimes it just works out that way. Just hopefully the Vikings lay it on the line against Philadelphia. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll have that game for you on this radio station. Of course, we'll have the Wild tonight, pregame, Tennessee. Do we do that? Is it a 15-minute
6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock.
The opening face-off against the St. Louis Blues as the season begins tonight. 5:34, top of the hour, Tennessee. What you got for us?
Guess what? The programming predicament is back.
No.